Dawn breaks over the South China Sea, light so bright it burns through the mist. Aboard the USS Gerald R. Ford, radar screens come alive in sharp green pulses. Multiple launches detected, bearing 270, the operator reports. From the direction of an artificial island, a cluster of cruise missile signatures rises into the sky. The calm of the morning turns into organized motion. Sailors strap helmets. Flight crews run across the deck. The air smells of jet fuel and salt, a mix only found on the edge of combat. Countermeasures active! Missile defense systems spool up. Launchers rotate. Intercept calculations appear on holographic overlays. From the carrier's runway, F-35B, Lightning II fighters roar into the white light, their engines splitting the air with disciplined violence. The pilots speak little, just call signs, coordinates, confirmations. Far across the horizon, planned destroyers shift formation. Chinese radar arrays rotate in response, locking onto the American fleet. Every second counts. One false signal, one misread pattern could turn tension into escalation. Above all this noise, the ocean remains brutally calm. White, reflective, endless. It mirrors two nations staring at each other through the eyes of machines. And within that reflection, the real conflict begins. Not in fire, but in decision. Operation Iron Tide has officially entered its opening minute. The roots of Operation Iron Tide lie deep within months of silent navigation and quiet observation. For weeks, American reconnaissance aircraft had mapped artificial islands rising like fortresses, radar domes, hangars, and missile launchers embedded in coral. Each structure, built layer by layer, shifted the maritime equation. In Washington, analysts warned of incremental militarization. In Beijing, statements called it defensive sovereignty. Both sides used the same charts, but drew different conclusions. On board USS Gerald R. Ford, commanders review live data. Chinese carrier Shandong maneuvering 120 nautical miles west, flanked by Type 055 destroyers. Their radar signatures, though silent, tell a story of intent. Every formation change is documented, every course correction time-stamped. From the bridge, Rear Admiral Collins observes in silence. He doesn't speak of confrontation, only readiness. Witness, he calls it, not war, not diplomacy, just the act of being present where deterrence lives and mistakes cost everything. Chinese surveillance drones orbit above the artificial islands, filming the approaching U.S. strike group. Both sides record, both sides publish, both insist on control. Neither fires. The weapons stay sheathed, but the tension carries its own momentum. At dawn, global feeds relay the scene. Carrier groups visible through open satellite imagery, moving under the same sun. In living rooms and situation rooms alike, millions watch the same white horizon, unsure who truly holds the initiative. In the hours after first contact, calm discipline replaces urgency. Inside USS Gerald R. Ford's Combat Information Center, operations unfold with mathematical rhythm. This is the choreography of modern deterrence, precision under pressure. Every station runs its checklist. Weapons officers review engagement envelopes for SM-6 interceptors and ESSM missiles. Flight directors calculate launch windows for F-35B combat air patrols. Deck crews refuel and arm aircraft under glaring white light, the hum of machinery blending with ocean wind. On satellite feeds, the Chinese carrier Shandong adjusts course again, positioning to the east of its artificial island network. Two Type 055 destroyers fan out ahead, their radar cones overlapping to form a defensive wall. In response, USS Ford's escorts, Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, form a staggered arc designed to block radar exposure and provide countermeasure depth. Admiral Collins's directive is simple: hold formation. Execute Plan Delta if engagement confirmed Plan Delta, a layered defense scenario where F-35Bs intercept missile threats while Aegis destroyers track long-range launches in real time. It's not a strike plan, it's insurance, a guarantee of control in chaos. Far above, satellites relay encrypted messages between Pacific Command and fleet units. No words of aggression, only updates, timings, and coordinates. The order is repeated across every deck. Prepare, but do not provoke. In modern warfare, anticipation itself is an act of strength. At 11:32 a.m., the first missile leaves its trail in the sky. A surface-to-surface weapon launched from one of the Chinese artificial islands arcs high above the horizon, tracked instantly by U.S. radar. Alarms sound across USS Gerald R. Ford, yet voices remain steady. Interceptor batteries, engage. 2 SM-6 missiles streak upward, their contrails drawing twin lines of white fire. Seconds later, a distant flash. Successful detonation midair. The sky clears as quickly as it flared. This is no battle. It's precision rehearsal under live fire. Each move is documented. Each result transmitted back to command. F-35Bs scramble from the carrier deck, banking low to sweep the engagement zone. Below, Arleigh Burke-class destroyers shift into defensive triangles, forming a moving shield wall. Across the horizon, Chinese destroyers maneuver in synchronized counter patterns, propulsion wakes slicing the sea like blades. Airborne early warning planes orbit overhead, relaying every radar pulse. Electronic warfare fills the spectrum. Both sides jam, spoof, and counter in a silent contest of speed and processing power. The ocean itself becomes data, waves reflecting signals instead of sunlight. Through it all, the fleet moves as one organism, controlled, deliberate, alive. No shots toward land, no escalation. Just the quiet, practiced precision of nations testing the edge of peace. The next 60 seconds decide the day. At 11:37 a.m., a new radar contact appears. Low altitude, inbound, unknown signature. The tension on USS Gerald R. Ford compresses into stillness. Every station awaits confirmation. Unidentified object. Possible drone swarm. The words are precise, unshaken. Electronic warfare teams switch to manual override. Counter-signal patterns flood the spectrum. The digital battlefield blinks alive in streams of light, invisible yet absolute. 2 F-35Bs dive to intercept, tracking the incoming formation. Their sensors lock on, but the radar return fragments. Dozens of false echoes bloom like static ghosts. The pilots maintain radio silence, relying only on HUD telemetry. Then, amid the noise, one clean track stabilizes. Target verified. Unarmed reconnaissance drone, Chinese origin. Hold fire, Collins orders. The decision spreads across the fleet like a wave of calm discipline. The drone passes high overhead, cameras turning toward the U.S. formation before vanishing west. No one cheers, no one moves. Because everyone knows, one press of a trigger could have rewritten the next decade. Far to the west, the Chinese carrier Shandong holds position, engines idling, decks motionless. Two nations stare at each other through silence, each knowing the other could strike, and choosing not to. In modern warfare, the true decisive act is restraint. By midday, the confrontation has already become data. Within minutes of the drone's withdrawal, both fleets shift to containment protocols. Weapon systems safe, aircraft recalled, tracking radars back to standby. But the information lives on. In Pearl Harbor, analysts replay infrared footage, mapping missile trajectories and electronic interference patterns. In Beijing, a task force reviews surveillance video, verifying that no U.S. ordnance crossed the threshold of engagement. The outcome is mutual confirmation, a rare alignment in the fog of modern tension. At 1300, the Pentagon releases an official statement. Freedom of navigation operations conducted safely and professionally. Hours later, Beijing's spokesperson echoes a mirror version. The situation in the South China Sea remains stable under China's vigilance. Different languages, same intent. Control the narrative before rumor replaces fact. News outlets replay clips of jets streaking through the sky, ships holding steady against bright white water. Viewers across the world interpret calm differently, some as deterrence, others as a warning. On USS Gerald R. Ford, silence returns. Crew members eat in the mess hall, the ocean gleaming outside portholes. No medals, no speeches, just data logs saved, encrypted, transmitted to archives. The exercise is over, but the lesson endures. Power today is measured not by impact, but by what remains unspent. As the sun begins its descent, USS Gerald R. Ford sails eastward through a field of quiet silver water. The fleet moves in formation, perfect and deliberate, an image that will be analyzed, debated, and remembered. What began as a collision of signals ends as a study in restraint. In Washington, the event is labeled a validation of readiness. In Beijing, it is described as stability through control. Neither side claims victory. Neither side admits concession. Because in this age, survival itself is the shared objective. The lessons from Operation Irontide extend beyond tactics. They affirm that the real weapon of the 21st century is discipline, the will to approach the brink and step back intact. Every missile not fired, every command withheld preserves something greater than power: credibility. For the men and women aboard the carrier, the day ends without celebration. They clean the decks, shut down consoles, and watch the ocean pass. Its vast white surface reflecting sunlight like a mirror of what could have been. They know that behind every order lies a decision measured not in seconds, but in consequences. When the logbook closes, the message is clear. Peace is not the absence of confrontation, it is the mastery of it. And on that white horizon, two navies have proven that control, not fire, defines command.